big news.
We were able to agree to terms on a deal with Los Angeles Rams on moving that first overall pick.
When is that ever going to
Eagles
happen again?
get the number 2 overall pick.
Everyone has an opinion. And they all think they're the smartest person in the room.
He's no Dion, but this kid rarely
We
gets
could market
false
him as the
steps.
face of the franchise.
We'd have to move up to get him.
At the end of the day, I gotta trust my instincts. We have an opportunity here.
What's going on, fellas? This your boy the Bus, and we back in the building again with another mock draft. It's been a while since we've done this show, but you know we back on our grind again, and we are ready to get this show going, man. So check it. Before I get going, man, y'all know I don't do the shows alone. I got my boy, my co-host, Bruce, BDZ, Mel Kiper. What's going on, man?
Hey, Bus, what's good? Bus McShay, we back. It's been a minute. I'm hyped. I'm ready to get into these picks. And hey man, just glad to be back, ready to do this and do it for the rest of the cycle, brother.
Yes, sir. So, before we get started, man, right now the DML is in the NFC Championship. So hopefully we can get those games in tonight. Move on to the Super Bowl, and then move on to the most liked part of the CFM from all owners, man, and that's the off season, man. You get into the off season, you get the draft. We've been looking at the scouts and the prospects to see, who could be the next Hall of Fame of the DML or the next all-time bust. You know what I'm saying? So the one thing that I can say is once these people get drafted, their lives are going to change, and they're going to be the bank accounts is just going to be full of money, man. You know what I'm saying? They're going to change lives. They're going to be able to help their parents out, buy houses and stuff, man. So I'm thinking these guys are ready to get their career started. So we're not going to hold you up. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go ahead and get into the mock draft. And the order, as you see, is Bucks, Falcons, Rams, Steelers, and then the Titans. So Bruce, just looking at the top 5, man, how do you feel about these guys being in the top 5, and can these players that they draft, potentially change their cycle?
So the way I feel about the top 5, I would say I think this might be the most talented top 5 and well-rounded top 5 that we've had so far this cycle. You have pass rushers, you got guys in the defensive backfield, quarterbacks,
right,
D linemen, and possibly receivers as well. A lot of talent at the top end of this draft. With a team like the Bucks and the Falcons, if they hit on these picks and both of them in the same division, very winnable division, it could turn their cycle around. It could help Randy regain his grasp on the division. If he can get his defense right, it could happen for him just as well as Newt.
Gotcha.
But as we always say, I know you guys got another show with the segment of This Is Why We Suck.
Yeah.
We got my boy with the Rams, this old skill trade. He's always there. So some people, it don't matter. Like,
right.
For whatever poor player that go to the Rams, you're just gonna be in the bottom.
Gotcha.
I bang with skill trade. That's my guy. But maybe he can make me wrong. But when you look at the Rams and you look at the Titans, which JB is my guy too,
yeah,
he's had a little bit of success. Unfortunately, you might just be picking. Might see these guys picking the top 5 again next year. But
gotcha. Well, we're gonna do the show again, but for right now, let's just focus on the first overall pick, and that's my man Randy with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, you got him going right in with Daniel Tiller, and I got him going DT with Jerome Parker. Now, both of these kids will be stellar performers for their team, no matter who they get drafted to. And I think if they go to the Bucks, they're going to help that defense out dramatically, man. So tell me why you like the kid out of Oklahoma State, Daniel Tiller, so much.
Okay. Well, just his size alone screams Myles Garrett vibes. 6'5", 268. Kid was just named college football player's best pass rusher by ESPN.com. And he has versatility, Bus. He's got that versatility where if Randy wants to play the 4-3, he can line up in defense at the defensive end position with his hand in the ground, but he can also play outside linebacker. So I think a spot like that with a guy who's going to test off the charts, as far as in his 40 vertical jump in the shuttle, I just think you can't pass him up. So I guess my question for you is what makes you think so highly of Jerome Parker as well? Kind of flip that question back at you.
Well, this is what I like about Jerome Parker. I think he's probably the most dominant defensive player in this draft. And I know you like Daniel Tiller, but when I see Jerome Parker, it reminds me of somebody who can just change the game like an Aaron Donald.
For sure.
So, and then when you look at the Bucs team, they're a little aged at the DT spot. They still got Vita Vea, but everybody out after that can really just, hit the streets and try to get onto another team. But when you want to solidify that position, you take a guy like Jerome Parker, man, out of Oregon State. So, and we have not seen the combine yet. The combine has not taken place. So this is just us just looking at, their gameplay throughout their collegiate career and in some of the measurables. So when I look at him, he has great to elite speed, great to elite strength. But then when you look at his skill set, Bruce, C power move, B block shed, B finesse, A impact block, A tackle.
Oh yeah.
This guy he's going to command double teams the entire game. So when you double teaming him, he's going to free up the other DN that he drafted last year, like I think his last name is Perry.
Perry, yep.
Yeah. He's going to free him up. So that's why I like a Jerome Parker to kind of be the number one pick for the Bucs. But he can't go wrong with either one of these defensive players, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree, Bus. This was probably the hardest pick for me to take too, because as you see, I got Jerome Parker going 4, but
Yeah.
Like you said, I can honestly see either one of them going at this spot, and either whoever he takes, if he takes either two of these guys, he's going to be happy, and the Bucs organization will hit a home run either way.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to move on to pick number 2, but we're going to stay within the division, and that's the Atlanta Falcons coming in with the number 2 pick overall. Now, you got him going strong safety with Jerome Monroe from the Florida Gators out there chomping, and I got him going wide receiver with Micah Taylor out of Central Florida. Now, Monroe is what Deion calls a dog.
Oh yeah.
If I can pick anybody to roam in my secondary, besides some of the greats in the Hall of Famers, as a rookie coming out of the SEC, I'm probably picking Jerome Monroe. So, give me your perception of a guy like Jerome Monroe playing in the SEC with that stiff competition day in and day out. How can he impact the Falcons?
Well, I think he'll impact the Falcons in a way that will allow them to create more opportunities for the offense, because the one thing about Jerome Monroe that separates him from like a guy like LaShawn Brittingham, who we'll talk about later,
Yes,
is he has elite ball skills and he has great height at the safety position at 6'2". And this kid showed it Saturday after Saturday in the SEC, going against the best competition in college football. And he also broke the school record at Florida with 13 interceptions this year.
13. Wow.
13 picks.
So he's a ball hawk.
He is a pure ball hawk, and I just gotta tell you, but I think this is where Deion has to go with his defense. Deion has a really good rush defense, but struggles on the back end. Every time I played him, he plays me tough, stops my run. But if you open it up, seems to struggle a bit. He's got an agent secondary. Really needs some help on that back end because I think his starter right now is Harrison Smith, who's 35.
Yes.
And the next youngest guy's 25, but I think he was like a 70 overall. So you already know Monroe's gonna come out all flashy. He'd bring that, like you said, man. He'd be like the reincarnation of Dion,
Yeah.
but secondary and
Right.
in the back at safety. So, yeah, I don't think he can miss here if he goes that way.
Gotcha. So you got him going defense. I got him going offense, and I got Michael Taylor, man, from Central Florida going to the Falcons. And this is why I chose the kid out of Central Florida is because we've both seen Dion play and how he tries to build his team in the DML for the past few Madden cycles. So last year he got his quarterback, Josh Valdez, out of Florida State. So when I look at that, I'm like, man, we got to get him some weapons, right? He already has Kyle Pitts. That's the number one guy. But when you look at his receivers, they're very aged. You know what I'm saying? Some of them probably could have a Walker or a something because you got Kenny Galladay who's 30, Sterling Shepard 31, Michael Gallup at 28. But when you bring in a young stud like Michael Taylor, that gives you some youth to pair up with Kyle Pitts. Now, the thing about Michael Taylor is he may not be as fast as you want, but he's gonna catch everything that you throw to him. You know what I'm saying? He has great acceleration, great agility, so he can get in and out of his breaks with those routes. That could help Valdez become a more Valdez can become a better passer being in the DML. Right now, I think he's just missing a few more weapons, and we're all geared towards getting ready for high stakes. So I think bringing in Michael Taylor can help this team a lot. But I know you're a defensive guy, so I went offense, and I like Michael Taylor out of Central Florida, man. So we're gonna see which direction Noop goes. So
now, quick question for you though, Buzz.
Yes, sir.
Question. So we got Taylor
now,
but do you think Taylor is the best wide receiver prospect in this class?
No, I don't think he's the best receiver in this class. But when it comes to route running and catching, I think he's
the fit.
Yeah,
he's the
guy. He's not the fastest guy. So if you're looking for speed, he may not be your guy. But you know what? He kind of reminds me of a shorter version of a Rowdy White.
Oh yes, that's a great comparison right there. I see that too.
That's what I see out of Michael Taylor. You know what I'm saying? So if you want a guy who's gonna catch the ball, get downfield, go across the middle, take the hits, that's your guy. Now if you look at somebody just to take the top off, no, he is not. It's gonna be another guy that we talk about later in the draft out of Texas, and that would probably be your guy if you want to stretch the field. So keep it moving, man. We're gonna move on to the Los Angeles Rams, and we have them taking AJ Bates, the quarterback out of South Carolina. So before we get into Mr. AJ Bates, let's take a look at something and let's see what type of guy he is. So AJ Bates' career as a starter, in the SEC, if you see, he played all years up until his senior year. 2023, that was his national championship year. 15 games, over 5,000 yards, 54 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He kind of put up Joe Burrow numbers. So, what do you think of Mr. AJ Bates? Him playing in the SEC, is that going to translate to him playing in the DML?
I think so. I think when you see other guys that come from the SEC, Joe Burrow, for instance, even in the past, guys such as like Cam Newton earlier in his career,
right?
Mac Jones up in New England with Sweets right now. I think he'll be able to do it. I think it'll transition him well over here. I think the issue I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show that Bates might run into is just where he's going. He's literally going to a team that finished 31st in pass offense last year. Like, is that because of the scheme? I mean, I guess we'll find out because Skill Trade's getting literally the number. He's been the number one overall player all year, and all the mocks from when we started. He's got all the intangibles you want in a quarterback, but sometimes I think players are victims of getting put in bad situations just because they're so good coming out of college. I mean, you can look at guys like Ryan Leaf, who went to the Chargers. Like, maybe Ryan Leaf would have been better had he not went as early as he did.
Right.
And you got other guys that blossom that benefit from getting taken later to better situations. So I guess we'll see. What are your thoughts? Do you think he's going to transition well? Can this turn the Rams around?
Man. We all know the SEC is probably the toughest and best conference, in the college career. But going to a Rams team that's normally in the top 5, is he that guy that can pretty much get him over the hump? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I hope he can go down there and turn that organization around, give him a couple wins, and get out of the top 5, get out of why you suck segments on some of our shows. But I don't know. Is AJ Bates' career coming to an end if he gets drafted by the Rams? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess time will tell.
Time will tell. So, we both agree with AJ Bates going to the Rams. Now, I'm gonna go back to the Bucks, and I looked at their roster, and me and you both had them going defense. Don't be surprised if you see the Bucks go after AJ Bates with that first overall pick. And I'm saying this because, like I said, we haven't seen the combine yet. So when the combine come out, it's gonna change a lot of people's mindsets on who they want and who they don't want. But when you look at the quarterback that's on the Bucks roster now, I know I'm not sold on him. The owner of the Bucks probably is, but if you look at a guy like AJ Bates and he comes out with superstar X Factor potential, or like Randy would say X Factor, do you pass that up?
Hey, Bus, I think that kind of like you said, when the combine drops and the pro day comes out, I'll make this statement now. If AJ Bates runs a sub 4.6, and if he has 24 bench reps, he'll go first overall.
Gotcha.
But I think we're all waiting to see how he will test. What will that speed come out to? I know Randy's not a big speed guy, but I think if you see that a guy's possibly going to have 80 to 82 speed, I mean, how do you pass it up with a quarterback along with possibly having that high bench reps? That'll translate to the throw power.
Right.
If you can get an 82 speed, 95 throw power quarterback out the gate with superstar X Factor potential,
yeah,
you ain't passing that up, man.
Right. Right.
You ain't, not when you need one. So I guess we'll find out when those numbers drop here soon.
Gotcha. All right, so we're going to keep it moving, man. And pick 4 belongs to the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. And once again, we both had them going defense, but just in different directions. I got them going left end with Mr. Levi Lawrence from Louisville, and you got them going with DT Jerome Parker, who we've spoken about before. So I'm going to give you the mic, and you can just expand upon what we mentioned about probably one of the best defensive players or the best defensive player in the draft, Mr. Jerome Parker.
Yeah, just to expand on what we said, and I won't spend too much time on it.
Yeah,
I know Jerome Parker has the versatility to play nose in the 3-4, and he also can play the end in the 3-4. Now, I don't know if I would put him standing up, but he's been talking to scouts, telling people he can do it all.
Yeah,
because he believes he's the number 1 overall player in this draft. But regardless, I think it'd be a great fit. I mean, he could easily come in and replace Cameron Hayward and be a benefit next to TJ Watt. And I know I mentioned Tiller early. I can't talk. earlier I mentioned Tiller
Yeah.
about being the best pass rusher in college football, but the guy that finished second was Jerome Parker, and he did it from the interior.
Mhm.
So he finished with 14 sacks this year. So
Gotcha.
I'm just saying, man, Jerome Parker, like he could easily be number one, but I love the kid. Think the Steelers would be a home run here, and so why do you think the Steelers are going to take your guy? Like, what makes you think they're going that way?
Mr. Levi himself. You know
Mr.
what I'm
Levi.
saying? He this guy actually has an NIL contract with Levi, so I'm gonna need him to give me some of that money by me mentioning saying Mr. Levi himself. I got my Levi's on right now, so Mr. Levi Lawrence going to the Steelers, man. I think this is a great pick. So when I look at the Steelers' defensive ends right now, you have a converted linebacker playing DN and Mr. Alex Highsmith. You got Kimiko Toure, who's 29 years old. On the other side, to me, it's a bunch of journeymen, you know? So that's why I have them picking Mr. Levi Lawrence, because he comes in right away and solidifies either the left end or the right end, you know? I think if you move him to left end or whatever, you can move Alex Highsmith, back to his normal position, which is outside linebacker. So that's why I got him going with Levi Lawrence out of Louisville. Now, I think he can make a big impact. How does he compare to the other DNs in the draft? I really don't think he's too far off. I mean, besides Mr. Daniel Tiller, there's nobody in the draft like Daniel Tiller or Mr. Jerome Parker. But if those guys are gone, then the kid out of Louisville, Mr. Levi Lawrence, I think he's your guy. I mean,
Right.
go ahead.
So I, I'm a combat that a little bit,
Yeah.
because if you look down, you'll see my guy. That's why I didn't even say Mr. Levi's name, because my other guy that I love in here, I got the Titans taking next at Devontae Barrett. I just love that guy.
Gotcha.
I think he is right in line with Levi. I take Devontae Barrett a little bit higher just because of the pedigree of USC, but I mean, I know it's fallen off lately, but they have typically produced some pretty good pass rushers, some pretty good defensive ends.
Yeah.
But I won't skip away from that. But I will fight for my guy Devontae and say, hey, I think he's in that conversation as the next best option behind Tillery at the defensive end spot. Is all.
Gotcha. And when we look at Levi Lawrence and we look at some of his skill sets, he's a very smart player. He has a power move. His injury is kind of low, but I can't even say I can compare him to anybody out of Louisville, because the last Louisville D lineman that I remember, and I don't know if you remember Bruce, he came into the league at like 19. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the kid that was from Africa.
Yeah, very young guy. I know he played for the Bears as well, and I can't remember his name, but
Okoye.
Yeah.
Moby Okoye.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember him?
And I don't know if I'm doing him justice even comparing him to him. I think Levi's a little better. What I'm saying is there hasn't been many D linemen that came out of Louisville that came into the league, I think, that, made a name for themselves. So hopefully Levi can come in here in the DML and the kid can change that. So either way, we both have them going defense, just different positions. So we're going to move on to the 5th overall pick, and that is the Tennessee Titans. So now we just gonna jump right into it, man. I know you spoke about your boy Devontae Barrett a few minutes ago, so let's solidify why you feel like the Titans should take this guy.
Well, I know I've spoke on versatility a lot, but he's versatile again. But in this sense, I think he's the best run stopping defensive end.
Okay.
In this draft. As I think I want to go back and say, looking at the stats, Barrett had 16 tackles for loss, which is really good for at the defensive end position on a USC team that won the Pac-12 championship. Now, I know most people might say, well, why would the Titans take another defensive end? They just took, I want to say, Tyrell Norman with the 3rd overall pick last year.
Yeah,
well,
they did. Mm-hmm.
If you go back and you look, Devontae, with his versatility, allows you to put him in that outside linebacker role, which I think he fits a little bit more standing up than in the ground. Again, he's good. He actually has a little bit better than average in pass coverage, which he hopes to show off at the combine and through drills and in the pro day. And again, just that pedigree, man. I really think that pedigree of defensive ends from USC just stands out with Shashawn Merriman's and a few other guys. So
Right.
that's why I'm big on Devontae Barrett. So
Okay. I like Devontae, and I like to pick for the Titans. But I'm going to move to the interior, and I'm going to pick Jerome Groves to the Titans. And now, when we talk about pedigrees or whatever, shout out to Clemson. But the one thing about Clemson that I've always said was, if it's a DN that's coming out of Clemson, you might want to think about drafting him or not drafting him. Now, if it's a DT, you get him.
Gotta go grab him. Grady Jarrett vibes. Right?
Grady Jarrett it's Grady Jarrett, Michael Dean Perry, William Perry. All those are great Clemson DTs that came out of Clemson. You know what I'm saying? And Jerome Groves is not too far off from him. C block shed, A finesse move, B tackle. He's elite in everything. You know what I'm saying? And he's an A hit power, B impact block. He can play all game. He got B stamina, so he ain't gonna get tired. You know what I'm saying? So, he's projected to be a second or third round pick, but I think you take a leap here and you get him with that fifth overall pick. That's why I like Mr. Jerome Groves. He's on the short side, 6'1", 288. So if he runs the combine, if he participates in the combine, he's able to come up with a great 40. He's a guy that you could move outside. Now, whether you want to do that or not, I'm not sure. But if any DT that comes out of Clemson, you might have to feed him a couple burgers or something, get him up to that 300 pound range. But I like Mr. Jerome Groves out of Clemson, man.
Yeah, I like that pick. I can definitely see why. Hey, if you can go get your guy, I'm always a proponent. If you like a guy, go get him.
Yeah.
If you like him, go get him, because you're only gonna be mad at yourself if you sit there and you wait and say because that second and third round grade can be deceiving.
Very.
I think he can kind of fit in this and sneaking into the top 5. Like you said, we'll see though. If we'll see where JB goes. If he does his homework, I definitely think that is a very capable pick that he can make in this position.
Gotcha. So, moving on, we got the Washington Commanders coming up with the pick 6. And you see we got the new logo on there, man. Shout out to Washington for coming out with a pretty decent name for their team. I'm sure Under is very excited. Let's talk about that for a minute. How do you? I like the little W logo, man. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's clean. Them black jerseys is too, man. I like what they did there.
Yes, sir.
I really do.
Yes, sir. So, me and you both agreed with this pick, and we got Under taking the linebacker out of Georgia, Mr. Brandon Dillon. Now, I think this is something else that me and you can agree upon. As you know, Under just changed OCs. So, looking at his roster, he actually needs a quarterback to kind of help run that system. But we all know how Under operates, man. He does not believe in spending money or high picks on quarterbacks. He's going to solidify that defensive side of the ball. And he's going to take Brandon Dillon out of Georgia, man. And the one reason why I say this is because of what? I'm going to see if you can guess what I'm about to say. Why is he going to take Brandon Dillon?
The hit power.
Yes, sir. Pop, pop.
Hey, and I'm mad about it too, Buzz. I am not happy about it. I gotta see this man 2 times a year.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing my running back do the animation where he throw his hands up in the air like he going down a water slide.
Right.
I'm sick of it. And now I'm gonna have to deal with it even more now. So you already know Brandon's going there. There ain't no doubt. Like,
yeah,
I feel like it's the most obvious pick.
Right. So let's take a closer look at Mr. Brandon Dillon, man, and another guy that's out of the SEC. As you see in 2020, he redshirted. He suffered an ACL injury, but these days, man, ACL injuries are like catching colds. You just bounce back from it, and like it never happened. He put up great numbers with tackles, man. And last year he had 120 tackles, 15 sacks, 1 interception. And I want to say I think his interceptions kind of went down because he started rushing the passer more. So that's why you see his sacks went up to 15 from 6 to 15. I think it's great. So to me, when I see this, Bruce, I see a versatile linebacker that can get after the quarterback and drop back in coverage and stop the run. So is this guy a every down linebacker?
I think so. I think this is a guy that you're going to see in that sub linebacker spot. Just like you said, high sack count in college, bounced back from that injury.
Yeah.
So obviously he's keen to blitzing. Very smart player. So yeah, I think this is a 3 down backer, and he'll be up for candidate of rookie of the year. I'll go out on that limb and say that right now.
Gotcha. So we got Brandon Dillon going to the Washington Commodores. The Washington Commanders. Man, that's a crazy name, man. But I like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love the uniforms. I like the change. So let's keep it moving, man. Pick 6 we got coming. We got the Bears coming in at pick 6, and once again we both agree. And I like the kid out of Notre Dame, man, LaShawn Brittingham. Man, this right here is a tough pick because I don't see LaShawn Brittingham and Jerome Monroe too far off.
Yeah,
but it's one of those situations where if Brittingham is gone, you take Monroe. If Monroe is gone, you take Brittingham, and you can't go wrong with neither one of them, man, because they're both ballers and ball hawks, so they're gonna be all over the field. So, Mr. Bruce,
yes, sir.
Who does LaShawn Brittingham remind you of? Is it anybody specific out of Notre Dame, or you just give me somebody who you think he compares to?
To me, I'd have to say, I think he reminds me more of an Ed Reed type, kind of from like his body build. He's not as big as Monroe is.
Yeah.
I think he's right at the 6 foot 200.
Mm-hmm.
But his intelligence level, man, is just off the charts. I think that's where the differences in the players come in. I think he's more of a more aware player, probably a little bit probably not as versatile as Monroe. Maybe not as good of hands, but one thing you hear about this guy, I mean, he's been the consistent number 1 safety though since his freshman year for this class, and he's done everything to maintain it. I think he just didn't have as many interceptions as Monroe did this year.
Right.
Monroe led the country, so I think that's where Monroe's getting this late buzz. But I think because this is your pick now, so like you said, I really don't think that you will be mad if you have either one of them. I know that Eddie Jack is already packed up his bags and is moving up out of Chicago. So I think, man, right here is LaShawn Brittingham. If Monroe's not there, Ed, you getting you a future Ed Reed for the rest of the cycle.
Yeah.
Kind of like I said that about Brandon Dillon, about being up for NFC Rookie of the Year. Shoot, man, Brittingham's gonna be right there with you. So it'll be interesting to see who wins that. I can't wait to see that battle. So what sticks out to Brittingham to you, and do you have a player comparison for Brittingham?
Man, I'm a huge Bears fan, man. So when I see LaShawn Brittingham, I see a older Mark Carrier.
Okay,
that's what I see in him, man. So if he can
I said Mark Carrier. I that name ain't registering for me.
Yeah, you don't remember Carrier? Used to play safety. Used to play safety for the Bears. Ward number 20.
Did he play at Tennessee?
I can't remember exactly what school he went to as far as his collegiate career, but yeah, that's who Brittingham kind of reminds me of, man. I mean,
I'm dating myself. My bad. I'm dating myself.
He Carrier, had a pretty injury prone NFL career, but when he was out there, man, he really balled. Yeah, Mark, yeah, he really balled. So that's who I compare him as. You know what I'm saying? 6 foot 214. He can cover the ground, cover a lot of ground, and he can play the box. You can get him in and tackle. So yeah. I think the only issue is right here. We got to make sure his name fits on the back of his jersey. I mean, LaShawn Brittingham, that's a pretty long name, so we might call him LaShawn Britton hit. How about that?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That better be in the story, man. When his first story, you got to put it in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving on from pick 7 to pick 8, we got the Houston Texans coming in, and this is where we disagree. So looking at the team, yeah, you see they acquired Kyler Murray, and some DML issues. Kyler Murray had to be removed from the Arizona Cardinals, and now he's on the Texans team. So when I look at that Texans team and I look at that O-line, my first thoughts are, bruh, if you got a high caliber quarterback, you got to get some O-line to protect him. And I got him going. Right. Cameron Gregory out of LSU. So I think Cameron Gregory is probably one, if not the best O-lineman in the draft. He's a top 5 player. He can pass block. He can run block. Everything about him says superstar. That's just me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm a former O-lineman myself, so I gotta go and say it starts in the trenches, man. You got Kyler Murray. Get somebody who can protect him, where you can stand in the pocket a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? So you got him going offense. Now, if he picks this guy wide receiver Rashard Reese, he teams him up with the other receiver he got last year, who's also a speedster.
Oh yeah, Mr. Lacey.
Yes, sir. So tell me about Rashard Reese, man.
Man, okay, so a couple words to describe him: home run hitter, big play threat, and one of the things the scout said that made me laugh, they call him the little man with fast feet. So, little man with fast feet, Reese.
Yeah.
Man, so knowing the Texans organization, your whole assessment of his needs, 100% correct. The man needs an O-lineman in the worst way.
Mm-hmm.
Any worst way. But is he going to do that? I would probably say no, just from knowing owner H-Bo.
Right.
I don't think he's going to do it. But I think because of the production that we've seen from Rashard Reese, was a 4-year guy at Texas, only a 2-year full-time starter. But in his first 2 years at Texas, he took the conference by storm. He had 6 return touchdowns, which earned him back-to-back Return of the Year awards for the Big 12. When he finally started starting, he saw himself collect 80 catches for 1,700 yards and 13 touchdowns over 2 years. So, guys, major productive. Now, with HBO, again, I agree with you. He should definitely take a lineman. But I don't think a kid with this kind of production, and we'll see what he runs at the 40, because the little man with the fast feet was walking around talking about he's going to run sub 4.2. So we'll see what we get here. But yeah, that's what I like about Reese, and that's my reasoning behind why I think H-Bo's going to go ahead and grab him.
Yeah, Rashard Reese is a baller, man. And the one thing that I like about this kid is he contributes not only on offense but special teams, kick return. Like,
yep.
Now, I heard you mention like his ability at kick returning and punt returning. Is this a guy who they treat like Devin Hester once he gets in the DML, where you just don't kick it to him?
Yep, I think he got to. I think especially playing against a user like H-Bo, you don't want to give him any more than you have to. So, man, if I'm playing him, we kicking it out the back of the end zone. We might even squib it, because I don't want to give him a chance to get any kind of that H-Bo energy flowing.
Gotcha. Now, the one knock on Mr. Rashard Reese is his size. He's 5'8", 188. Now, he's going to have to be fast to maneuver around those hit sticks and tackles. But if he gets hit, can he and will he be able to get up for the next play?
Well, the Big 12 isn't a conference like the SEC as far as defensive prowess. So I guess that's to be seen. That'll explain to us if he's going to truly be as productive in this league. Because I think if you know how it is as a coach, you got a player that starts putting the ball on the ground from fumbling.
Yeah.
He might not be in very long, no matter how fast you can run.
Gotcha.
If you can't protect the football, you can't play in this league. So
Gotcha. Definitely got to protect the football, man. But like we both said, either one of these spots, man, will actually help the Texan team. So moving on to pick number 9, we got the Cincinnati Bengals coming in, and once again, we both agree, and we got him taking the big tight end from USC. It's the Aaron Franks. This kid right here is probably one of the best tight ends I've seen in a long time. So, Mr. Bruce, I know you know this kid, pretty well. I've heard you talk about how you hang out with, his dad and everything, man. So tell us about Mr. Aaron Franks.
Man, Aaron, I've known Aaron for a while, man. Many people will remember his dad as Daniel Franks, also known as Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba Franks, who went 14th overall to the Packers. I want to say in the 2000 draft. Had a bunch of great years with Brett Favre. Very solid NFL career. Well, this is his son Aaron, man. Coming in with that NFL pedigree now. Aaron's story is a little bit different than his dad. So
okay.
Aaron went to the University of Miami for his first 2 years, but couldn't really find his way on the field. So he entered the transfer portal. And once he did, he found his home out at USC. And in the past 2 seasons, he's topped 1,000 yards receiving twice, 10 touchdowns in both seasons. He's a little bit shorter than his dad, but what he loses in height, he makes up in athleticism.
Yeah.
The big word is that when we get to Indianapolis, he's plans to at least run a 4.48 at the combine, at minimum in a 40.
Right.
So if he runs a little bit faster than that, we could see one of these other teams jump up and grab him before the Bengals. And the Bengals definitely have a need to, as they had the league's worst passing attack, only averaging 153 yards passing per game. We know that you got to be able to throw the ball a little bit in the DML to be successful. So
yeah.
What better to do than that than grab your position and needed tight end with a guy who has a Kyle Pitts type ceiling right here. So I know I've kind of went on a little bit, but what do you think of Mr. Franks here?
I like Mr. Aaron Franks, man, and if he turns out to be anything like his dad Bubba, this would be a great pick for the Bengals, man. I think it kind of opens up their offense because you got Joe Burrow down there, you got Mixon. So when you got a tight end like this who's very similar to Kyle Pitts, and we see what Kyle Pitts has done for the Atlanta Falcons, really open up their offense. So I think Aaron Franks will have the same impact on the Bengals if that's the direction that they choose to go. This kid is great, man. He's good on and off the field. You won't have to worry about being in no trouble because, I mean, even though his dad is a little older, I've seen pictures where dad jacked him up a couple times. So Aaron Franks has a lot of respect from his peers. He respects his elders, man. This kid is good on and off the field. So I would love to see the Bengals select Aaron Franks with this 9th overall pick. So moving on, man, and this is the 10th pick of the draft, our last pick that we will discuss before the draft hits on Sunday. The time hasn't been determined yet, so we just know it's going to be Sunday. So next up, we got the Texans again coming in with pick 10, and I got him going Rashard Reese, Mr. Speedy Gonzalez himself. And to me, this right here would solidify the Texans draft. Getting a guard with the pick 8 to help the O-line, and then getting a receiver to help Kyler Murray and to go along with wide receiver Lacey in that Texas offense. Now, new guys on the scene, you got him taking Deion Mitchell. How does Deion Mitchell compare to the cornerbacks on the team currently and in the current cornerbacks in this draft?
So with Deion Mitchell, I think we got a couple kind of question marks with him, right? So Deion Mitchell's expected to go in there and be a combine warrior, sub 4.3 time, which is a big reason why I got the Texans jumping on him, because in my eyes, HBO's like Al Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Not Al Davis just used to take fast guys and the Combine Warriors. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm leaning to him taking Deion Mitchell, because Deion Mitchell is not the best cover corner in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
He has issues with his eyes looking in the wrong place. You know, he is aggressive at getting to the ball, but he takes a lot of chances. He actually reminds me of one of my least favorite cornerbacks in the world, Marcus Peters. But
Oh yeah.
his upside is there if he could get into the right system. But I don't think he's going to the right system. But I think him going to the Texans will allow him to do a couple things. He's a better man cover corner than he is zone. And I think he'll be able to kind of show off that speed a little bit, because one thing that the Texans like to do is go zero coverage a lot. So
yeah.
he'll end up having some highlight plays if people try him. But what's interesting about this is how we both talked about Rashard Reese. They actually played against each other in the opening game this year in Jerry World. We had the Texas Longhorns against the LSU Tigers. They saw a shocking upset with the Texas Longhorns winning.
Mm-hmm.
And in a couple of those games, Reese was lined up actually. Mitchell was lined up on Reese. And Reese gave him that work and burned him 3 times. Now Reese only caught 1 touchdown, and the other 2 saw underthrown ball get broken up that showed off Mitchell's great speed.
Mm-hmm.
And also another one where he just manned up with Reese, got on the press and ran with him. So Deion Mitchell's a little bit inconsistent, but his speed saves him a lot.
Gotcha.
And owner HBO was at the game at Jerry World, and I think that's when he fell in love with him. And I think that's where he's going. He needs to take a lineman. Is he going to take a lineman? Nope, I don't see it. I don't see it any way in the world this man takes a lineman in the top 10. But
so basically what you're saying is you can see the Texas owner taking probably 2 of the fastest guys in the league, Rashard Reese and Deion Mitchell.
Yep, might as well call him Angelo Davis.
Gotcha.
Change his last name, because that's who you remind me of. That must be his own.
The one thing about Deion Mitchell that you can bank on is he's going to be a pretty solid cornerback coming out of LSU. I mean, LSU don't produce no slouches, out of the secondary, man. But I tell you what, we didn't talk about him, but the one cornerback that I kind of like is Raymond Poole, Alabama, man.
Oh yeah, so, I like Poole too, man.
Yeah.
I really.
He's a guy that I like.
He's not gonna run like Mitchell is, but I could be wrong. But I just don't think he's gonna run like Mitchell is.
Right.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, but coming out of Bama, he's gonna know how to play. They play a DML style football down there in Bama, man. So he's gonna be ready, regardless, man. So, yeah, man.
For sure.
That was a rundown of the top 10, and hopefully you guys enjoy the show. These guys are ready to start spending that money they about to be signing, man. And these top 10 guys, man, they fell into the bag. You know what I'm saying? So until next time, give a shout out to my co-host, Mr. Bruce Mel Kuiper.
Yes,
and we will be out on that note. Hey, make sure y'all watch the draft. Stay tuned for the draft. It's Sunday. I don't know the time. The DML will be playing our Super Bowl soon, man. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And, yep, we out. Y'all have a good one.
We out.